community to help your community.
Right.
The masses of people are suffering, and we cannot say that it's because our political leaders have failed us. You cannot put all the onus on them. They can only do so much.
Right.
And now look at what this is what we reap from their being in office.
Well, I think when the political system was put in place hundreds of years ago, the mission and the goal of the political system, I believe, is a good cause and is just. It is to make it because everyone can't be a leader, and there needs to be leaders to make the decisions and tough decisions for the masses. For instance, everything the government does, from policing to help to hospitals, also to your other things that can be done by individual person. When you just think about garbage disposal, if everybody had to work as their own garbage man, that's something the government needs to handle. So there's still a need for politics, need for government, but I think in between the formulation of governments and their checks and balances, and now today how it's being used, I think there was a long been mistreated, and they have been looking at their own, like I say, some have looked at their own mission versus the mission of the people they serve. So I do believe in politics. Like you said, the definition of politics, I believe in that system. I think it will be what's best for it. 'Cause I think if you got rid of Washington, D.C., there'll be nothing but chaos.
Right.
But I think the politicians need to be accountable, need to make sure what they do is not to get rich, but to serve their communities, serve their jurisdictions.
Right.
So politics, I believe, is something that now, politics in the future, I believe now will become more accountable. I think will lead to more people who really want to serve and not necessarily have their face on TV. I think that will be now the new trend, because I've seen a lot of young politicians. I mean, even younger than, some look at Harold Ford Jr. as a young politician, but there's some even younger than that. There's senators now who are in their early 30s and late 20s. I saw one even
Pittsburgh is like 30.
Right. New Jersey. Cory Booker, mayor of Newark, New Jersey. And I think there's not a strong push now to be progressive. Don't wait till you're 40 or 50 to run for something. If you can make a change now, for instance, like Obama, he started at a young age to represent the steel workers in Chicago. He didn't wait to become. He didn't go straight to becoming an attorney and make a lot. He made a difference immediately. Right. And that's something a lot of people can do. And hopefully we can make a difference with this show to kind of enlighten people on what's going on, inform people on how to do certain things, and hopefully lead to more positive things. This is not a show just to take up airtime. This is a show. I mean, we're debating actually some relevant topics. And I think that this is something that, if you have an interest of being a politician, talk to us. Let us know what you're trying to do. Maybe you have something that you can spearhead. Send us a message. We can probably get it aired, and you can have a group of people to do whatever in that cause and help the community. Right. Because right now communication is key, and we have this medium.
What you got, KB?
What you got, KB?
I think what bore the resurgence or the rising of Barack Obama was a lack of apathy amongst voters. People were tired of the regular politics as usual, business as usual. So people were looking for change, and Barack Obama inspired hope in millions of people across the country and the world. And I think, as Trey just mentioned, politics, I think, is growing, it's changing, it's going into a different direction. But young people need to get involved and change the scope of politics, change what politics is about, because people, quite frankly, are tired of politics. It's business as usual. Right. People are fed up. People don't trust government.
I'm a community organizer, by the way.
People don't trust government. It's very obvious that people don't trust government. I mean, you got. We don't have to go into what the former president, here in this city, corruption. Corruption is going on all over the country. In every city, there's some type of corruption. So we put these people in office to represent us, but yet they have not done a good job at that. So I think young people need to get more involved in it, but it needs to be a change. It needs to be to go into a different direction. It should not be politics as it is now. It should be something more of a implementation of change, where young people can spearhead things. Another thing, older people need to, there needs to be a bridging of the gap between young and old. Older people, they want to stay in position for 20, 30 years. And then when they're about to die, then they give it to us. Young people are the future. We clearly, is that Barack Obama, his people in his campaign were in their 20s, 30 years old, and which helped him get elected. So we need to spearhead it. We need to be in the forefront, not the older generation. It needs to be a bridging of the gap, I think. What do you think about that, Trey?
It definitely can. One word I like to always use is continuous improvement. Never stay in the same place. Even if you're doing well, continue to do well so that you can grow, and don't just plateau at one point. There will always, one day we will be old, and there will be younger generation telling us we need, there are always new ideas, fresh ideas, and ways to do things better.
Right.
I mean, this time when my parents were 25, 26-year-old, none of this existed. So they knew the best practices and best things to do then. Now that we are the new generation, we know how to do things better. I mean, my own parents don't know how to do certain things like text message. All they can do is just get online and do email. Well, nowadays, when you need to get stuff, communication is faster. We need to make sure that everyone is in touch. Well, this generation is now connected with your Facebooks, your MySpaces, text messaging, all these other blogs and things. You can get information immediately. Well, 20 more years from now, there'll be some new technologies that we won't necessarily understand, and we need to understand that the younger folk have something and let them be able to be their voice.
Right.
As long as it's in a good way.
Right. I think that the biggest achievement of being successful is being able to deposit yourself in someone younger. If you have reached a certain level of success in your field of endeavor, and you feel that you want to pass what you've learned on, I think that's what the gap I mentioned just a few minutes ago. There needs to be a bridging of that gap. Young people want to do better. Young people want to have an opportunity, and I thank Josh for this show because this is a pedestal for as we can talk about serious issues and not talk about something that's irrelevant. Trey, let's talk about something that's irrelevant. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about the social ills that's affecting Memphis and all across the country. How can we help Barack Obama fulfill what he has mentioned in his campaign? How can we help him do that? He can't do it alone. So I thank Josh for this opportunity to be on the show to talk about relevant issues that affects our community.
Well, I'm going to go get me some corn on the cob and make some gasoline out of it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start growing corn in my backyard. Change. But no, on a serious note, there definitely will be, I believe, exponential change in the next 4 to 8 years. Not just from Obama's, what he's preaching, but from a continental standpoint. I think we as Americans, and even Canada, our northern counterparts in Mexico, I've seen a lot of things, not just trade and business, but I think they're close with the Hispanic population. They have come, from your Cuba, etc., and also in Mexico, that they are now a big part, and I think in the next 20 years they will be the majority.
Right.
African Americans and Hispanics. So I think there will be a big change in just how things are done around. There won't be just follow behind the majority now, which is the Caucasian male. And then so I think with that, people will need to become more sensitive to other races. I think there will be a lot more diversity in things. I think that will make things better, because the Caucasians don't do everything the best, but right now they're currently the majority. But we just need to work together on one accord to do things better.
You're right. And speaking on all this information we're talking about, I like what KB had to say about taking care of our community, because it does start with our community. Speaking of what he said, and if you're right, people in the community are destroying the community. We need to make sure that we as people in that community take pride in our community, because we can't expect the government and people to come in and take care of our community for us when it starts with us, because we live in this community, we grew in these communities, we were born and bred in these communities. We need to take more pride in these communities and kick out the people who basically tearing these communities down. So we're going to get out of here on that note. Trey Carter, go ahead and plug out your information for the ladies and gentlemen out here.
You can reach me at patrickcarter3@gmail.com or at myspace.com/stunnerandfresh. Holler at me.
KB, plug information, sales.
You can reach me at sales, SALES, at everlastingspring.com, or you can call our Atlanta office at 678-79-WATER, or you can reach us here in our local office in Memphis at 901-312-1631, Everlasting Spring Water. Drink Everlasting, support black businesses, Everlasting forever.
Alright, and me, y'all know where y'all can find me on all this information here, blah, 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 MySpace, Middle Talk High, YouTube, blah, blah, blah.